Welcome back to another Ispmanager video, and this time around we want to look at backups. If you're the root user or the admin user on your panel, you can come in here under backups and you can enable it. But before we do that, let's come to the documentation. Just come to the documentation and look at backup system. The backup system for Ispmanager uses Isptar. Isptar is a module by Ispmanager. So let's just click on that. You can see what you can do with it. You can separate users. So the Ispmanager backup module separates users. So the backups are not mixed for users. They're separated based on users. And then you can have large archives divided into smaller volumes. The storage format is .tgz. Ispmanager is a module by the Ispmanager team. So you can read more about all this here. Of course, I'm not going to go through this, but just go through the documentation to see what options you have. And then we can look at backup locations. Now, backup locations, you can have Dropbox, Google Drive, Amazon S3, S3 compatible storage. You can use an FTP server, SFTP server. So this is the important thing. This is the most important thing. You have to decide where you want to store your backups. Just feel free to come to the documentation so that you can see what else you can do with the backup module. For us, let's just go back to the panel. If you're following along with me, just go to your panel and then come to backup copies. And then under backup copies, just click here on fill out, and this is going to bring the form that allows you to enable backup. So backup settings, enable backups, storage type, local directory. You can select the default location where you want to store your backups. In my case, I don't want to connect any of this at this point, so I'm just going to select local directory, and that is going to store it on my server. You have to know the space that your server has. If you have a low storage server, you probably need to set up a different server with FTP or SFTP and then connect that here. I would definitely go with SFTP instead of FTP. The path to directory, you can select the directory where your paths are going to get stored. In my case, let's just go with, I can just store it there /backups. I don't know if there's anything in that directory. I don't know if it exists, but I'm just going to select that for now and see what happens. And then limit total size of your backup. You should definitely limit this. So I'm just going to go with 10 GB for now. And then full backup copies, I will go with 3. And then daily backup copies, I will also go with 3. All these options, you can look at the documentation here, and it's going to explain everything. Backup system general information. Make sure you read the documentation because I'm just going through all this to show you how it works. But you should definitely go through the backup documentation for Ispmanager. You can exclude certain files. If there are certain files that you want excluded, definitely exclude them. And then exclude databases. If there are certain databases you want to exclude, you can exclude those databases. Maybe for security reason, you don't want your database to be together with that. You can select all databases and they will not be backed up. You can select the time when you want the backups to be checked. When do you want the system to check that there are new items that needs to be backed up? That will start at 3. You can do it at 2 a.m. Just select the time that you want your backups to start. Extended settings there. Start time and then server time. So this just shows the current server time, and then backup copy password. You can secure your backup with a password. I'm going to save. If you secure it with a password, it will get encrypted. So you can create a copy on demand. You can do a full backup right now. You can do a panel settings backup. You can do a user backup. I have certain users, so let's see the options we have there under users. I'm going to select, you can just back up a specific user and all the details will be backed up. So the backup will start and then you'll see the backup is there. If you want to back up your full Ispmanager server, click there on full backup copy. The full backup copy, that will back up the entire server. If you refresh the page, the backup is going to show up there, and this is the user backup. So I can select it you can go and view your files. When you view your files, you'll see that this user has some web content. If you want to restore any user, if you have multiple users you've backed up, you just select the user and you can restore, you can delete, you can download, and so on. So let's just go back. At least now you see this is how you can restore your user. Let's go back to the backups. You can look at settings again, backup configurations. So just remember that your backups will happen every day at 2. Let's go to the user and see if the user has the option to backup their system. So I'm logged in as the user that I created earlier on. If you come here under backup copies, the user can also create their backups. So when they do that, it is going to create a backup and download the backup. So you can create, and that's going to create a backup and then download it for the user. And you can see this is a backup that we created in the root account. And since it belongs to this user, it is showing up here for this user, and they can download it if they need to use it. They can look at the details for this backup. If they want to do anything with it, they can look at the files, user, and they can select what they want to restore. If they want to restore www, that's available for them there. If they want to restore a database, they can select the database, click there on databases, and they can select the database that they want to restore or download. So in this video, we've seen how you can work with the backup system in Ispmanager. So if you're the admin, you have to enable the backup system so that it's available to your users. If you don't enable it, it will not be available to the users. If it is not already enabled, you saw how I did that in the beginning of the video. Just click there on backups and then fill out, and that's going to bring in the form with the settings that you can select for your backup, auto backup, and user backup. So that's pretty much it for this backup video. Just remember to go and look at the documentation so that you can understand everything about the backup system, even though now you know how you can enable it, download, restore, and do what you need to do with your backup. See you in the next one.